And well, hello there my friends. It is already afternoon. Actually it's 1:29 and it is Sunday the 7th September 2025. Ready for an adventure with sister out here?
Let's do it.
No parents, just me and sister. We're gonna go explore Colonial Williamsburg.
Yeah.
We're gonna start off here at the visitor center. And so the last time I was out here, it was almost exactly a year ago. And the first time I was out here, it was in 2020, also in September. And I like this place. I mean, I like coming back. Last year I didn't do Colonial Williamsburg because we came out late. And so we're gonna try to see if we could buy some tickets to explore a little bit of the activities that they have going on, and maybe try to go inside some of the houses, maybe the courthouse and the palace that they have. But we are here at the visitor center starting off. Not sure how much tickets cost. Do love me some 18th century attractions. Let's go back to the Revolution. All right, so we got our tickets. Got to carry this badge around to be able to enter the buildings. The cool thing is that the governor building and the courthouse, and I mean, she said that most of the buildings are open. They do have some trade buildings we could go into, like ironsmith or like the gun shop. But she said there's a lot of different trades that we could go check out. We don't have a lot of time. Currently 1:47. They do close at 5. And How Old Scream does start at 6. I was looking at the times and they do close at 10. So I'm kind of like feeling like it's gonna be like a rush day. I just love Virginia, guys. Most of the East Coast, or all of the East Coast, is beautiful. Just love all the tree scenery. We are choosing to take the path, the walking path. You could also drive out there and park somewhere. But yeah, walking, doing a lot of walking today. And like I said, me and my dad did the Colonial Williamsburg ticket, where you could see all the different trades and the houses. Back in 2020, it was like during COVID, we had to wear masks. Everything was like time entry. I did forget to check prices for seniors and child tickets, but for adults it is $35 for a ticket. They say last year it was like $45, so they brought it down. They're celebrating their 100 years. The path is wet, and that's because it's sprinkling a bit. Hopefully it doesn't pour. Let me see. We do have a map here also.
Okay, blacksmith, book. Wait a minute. Bookbinder, brickmaker. It's carpenter, and she said that they're all like all professionally, like their trades, like they're not like just actors.
As we're walking the path into the Colonial area, they do have Colonial Parkway here right next to it. Beautiful road that takes you out to Yorktown. Was able to drive it in 2020. It looks like today for the past year. Even when it came last year, it was under construction, so they are working on it.
Look at squirrels. Squirrels.
Warning, dangerous deep water. No trespassing. That water is green, full of algae. Welcome to Colonial Williamsburg. A visit to Colonial Williamsburg is a journey into America's past and a chance to learn firsthand what it was like to live in the capital of Virginia. on the eve of the American Revolution. Among the hundreds of restored and reconstructed buildings, you'll find over 40 exhibit sites ranging from colonial homes and government buildings to trade shops and museums. In addition, the area is also a living city with over 80 families residing in the buildings not open to the public. So we're almost reaching the governor's home. At some point, Thomas Jefferson did live here when it was the capital of Virginia.
Hello.
All right, so there is a tour in 20 minutes, so forgot to ask about the recording. Wonder if this was some kind of church. Not too sure. Virginia Road Wagon. Circa 1800. All right, we're gonna take a little tour. All right, so we just came out of the first room where he talked a little bit about the history of Virginia and here at Colonial Williamsburg. Now we're gonna go inside the palace.
Anyone who needs to sit down, the window seats are available, but not the chairs. Ladies and gentlemen, can we move in a little bit more? We try to maintain the humidity in here. We have an awful lot of antiques that we try to mark. From that room, they control the staff. Those Dunbar Disney staff from 91, 57 on our display. The room on the other side is taller, normally used for entertaining, but this is a government building as well as a private residence. And right now it's set an escape. And how you feel about that statement is going to vary about who you are, what year it is. Case in point, the year of 1764. It is right after the French and Indian War. And we have a little stick uniforms. Nobody wants to talk about uniforms. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a room. Anyone who does not feel like I'm 27 stairs, 7 feet after the stairs, what I call them stairs. There's a step turn in the corner. But this room doubles as Lady Dunbar's back parlor and dressing room, and every morning she's seated at that middle window, looking down upon the citizens in Williamsburg getting dressed. April 21st, 1775, she's looking down angry and our Virginians are looking back. What happened? The year 1775 is the year of undeclared revolution. All the royal governors get a letter from Lord Dartmouth, Secretary of State of Colonial Affairs in London. It says, prevent further importation of gunpowder and control that which you have on hand. But by April, the shooting war has started up in Massachusetts. The shot heard round the world, the battle's up. Lexington and Concord. Down here in Virginia, though, Lord Dunbar had 8 dilemmas. He doesn't have it stay in the British Army like Boston. He has Virginia.
We don't use it.
And then you're going to take your foot and turn it to the outside. And you know why you're turning it to the outside? You're showing off your calf muscles. If you have strongly developed calves, that means you ride horses, which means you are rich, and that's the point. If you don't have a hand, you have to do a flourish. A flourish is one of these motions like this. If you have a hand, you come off of that, so gentlemen, drop it down. Come on. Excellent. You know, I heard some laughter on this side, ladies. Now, I think when they have these large purple gowns, don't forget to sort off. You have ballet, so the first position doing it endemically, if you haven't had ballet, I have to say you're going to stand like a duck. Your heels are together, your feet as far apart as what you can manage. That's different, by the way. And then you're going to have these large purple gowns, and you're going to go right over left before you go down. And you'll stay down, ladies. Tell the gentleman, you know you're gone, and what that means is you'll never get into a fight with gentlemen take you to fall. And I want you to call your attention to that piece of furniture there. Look at it carefully and tell me what that is.
That's the
Yes,
A disc player.
wrong answer. A bar is the number 2 wrong answer, and the correct answer is, I'm going to give you a hint.
A record player.
It is an organ.
Teaching us how to dance. This is a ballroom that we're in right now. So that was King Charles II, and that plaque up there, that's for King George II. I didn't catch the 2 that's right there in the left corner. Check out the fireplace. And that's supposed to be the music box, whatever. Queen Charlotte. King George III.
Georgians call that a luster. A luster.
Not a chandelier.
1850 English leaded crystal. When Victoria sends the throne, then it'll become a chandelier. And the lusters are those little tiny doodads. But right now, the entire thing is known as a luster. A copy of it, this is what it sounds like. Anyway, reproduction vespers. I'll be playing tonight at 1, 2, 3.
Huzzah!
Thank you all.
This is it.
What did we get fascinated by? Stoves.
Well, as I said, that is a Dutch warming machine. If you want more information, it's the DJI Pocket Museum. The original Dutch machine is actually only a single tier.
All right, so we are done with the tour here at the Governor's Palace. Did you like that history tour, sister?
Yes, I like that. He was a good tour guide.
I like when the older tour guides are really hilarious. They try to be funny in the tour. Really good tour guide. One of the things I forgot to mention earlier, because I did say that at some point, Thomas Jefferson. This is where he governed. Before him was Patrick Henry. I'm gonna read right here on the web. 7 governors that lived in this palace. Start out with Alexander Spotswood, Francis Fréquer, if I said that correctly, Lord Bottentort, Hugh Drysdale, William Gooch, Robert Dinwiddie, John Murray, 4th Earl of Dunmore, and home to colonial mayor John Ampson, 1750 to 1751. It was also home to the post-colonial governors Patrick Henry, 1776, 1779, and Thomas Jefferson, 1779, 1780. And also all this is reconstructed, guys. How were they able to reconstruct everything is that Thomas Jefferson did have blueprints for everything. Like all his stuff that he created or lived in, the houses. So that's how they were able to reconstruct this. But pretty cool house or palace. When I was out here in 2020 with Dad, it was during the COVID area, so we weren't allowed to really visit the upstairs. Basically, we just went in the straight path, and that's how they did the tour. But now we're actually able to visit almost every room, which is pretty cool. If you guys want to relive the 1700s, late 1600s, this is a cool place to visit, to be around. You can ride on the carriage. So we did start the day a little bit late. Super exhausted from yesterday's hectic delay. Kind of did stress me out because I didn't know what was gonna happen. So we did sleep in a little bit, but that's okay. I think we're gonna have time to do like the major stuff. If you saw last year's vlog, we didn't come out this way. We're actually on the other end of that street over there, but we did end it here at George Wythe's house, who is one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. And also, I think I said that George Washington did stay there right before heading out to Yorktown for the final battle. That won us our independence. Such a beautiful reconstructed town here. I love it. Courthouse up ahead, the powder building. The Randolph house, that red house over there.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, Zeus Adventure.
Zeus Adventure.
Could see some camping grounds, tents from soldiers. So during operating hours, they do have these flags outside, meaning that they're open for you to explore inside the buildings. But then again, you also need the pass to be able to go inside. It looks like today the powder or ammunition building is closed out. Let's go talk to our fellow American soldier. Rebel, what they call? Patriot soldier.
He's cold. John's cold.
I'm not cold.
He's cold.
Hello.
Guys, he's cold.
No.
He's cold. He's cold. I'm not cold.
Got some cannons over here.
Yes, unfortunately, the magazine is currently closed down for renovations. It's one of our original structures, and in fact, it's actually one of the older structures in town. Originally built in 1715, so she's about 310 years old at this point. So because of that, she's been in need of a lot of love and care, if you will. The last time she really had a major renovation was back in the 1940s. So they're doing a number of interior kind of restorations to the building at this point. And we're hoping to have it open to the public back again in 2026. So magazine, it comes from an old Turkish word called maksan, which is a storehouse specifically for gunpowder. That being said, this magazine was stored for storing not just gunpowder, but also military firearms like muskets, as well as military accoutrements, so bayonets, scabbards, cartridge boxes, basically everything that a soldier needed to function as a soldier in the army. So it's kind of, you can think of it as like a one-stop army shop in that sense. And the idea is that originally it was meant to be storing that weapon so that if the colony of Virginia was ever attacked, the Virginia militia has access to military weapons that they can essentially acquire and use to more effectively defend the colony.
What is it that you guys are making right now here?
So really what we're doing is we're making a number of different, specifically military equipment. So the men that we're portraying as members of the 1st and 2nd Virginia regiments, who are some of the first professional soldiers that are going to be raised by the Virginia colony itself. But they're not necessarily being issued finished goods, if you will. They're not being issued things like knapsacks, haversacks, canteens, powder horns, even things like their uniforms, like leggings and hunting shirts, are all going to have to be made by the soldiers. So they're going to be given the material to make them, and a portion of the day will be spent actually making their equipment, which is not necessarily the most efficient model you want for your soldiers, because not necessarily everyone is going to be an artisan per se, but also it's just not a great way to use their time. The time they spend making their own equipment could have also been time meant to train them, to make them into better soldiers in that sense. So this system really kind of doesn't really stick around until, it doesn't really stick around after 1776. Virginia quickly starts really commissioning professional artisans to make equipment for the army.
You guys shoot a musket at a certain time?
So at 4 o'clock is when we're doing specifically some military exercises, which will include firing of the muskets.
Nice.
Right here in this area?
Correct.
So, I know, like when they went to Lexington, like to seize all the gunpowder, what?
Specifically at Lexington and Concord. The precipice for that battle is specifically the British Army sending a detachment to seize specifically military-grade gunpowder, as well as military muskets, military artillery. Essentially, weapons of war were being stockpiled in Concord. Because of that, that's really kind of why the British Army is sent there, and that's why the battles of Lexington and Concord happened in the first place. And the same logic is kind of applied here in Virginia as well, in particular with the gunpowder incident on April 21st. Lord Dunmore received the same orders that all the other 13 colony specifically the colonial governors received, which was a letter from King George stating that due to the increased amount of rebel activity in the colonies, he was ordering them to essentially basically subdue the colonists however they seem fit, which in this case was mainly disarming the colonies, making sure they did not have the ability to make war by taking away military weapons. So that's what Lord Dunmore is trying to do in the gunpowder incident. He's sending sailors here to get rid of the military gunpowder inside the magazine, as well as disable any of the muskets inside as well, and trying to do so discreetly too. That way none the wiser, if you will, though he is unsuccessful in that part of the operation. The sailors are able to accomplish those objectives, but they are found out about it very easily.
Another thing is that you need to be careful with all the droppings from the horses.
I don't have the stomach for that.
Gosh, what the squirrels are doing over here. Something's going on. What is that?
She'll grab the baby.
Oh, there's babies.
Buddy.
Well, that was pretty sad to see. Not sure if the baby squirrels fell out of the nest, but looks like the mother was trying to take them back up the tree. But there's blood. Not sure if they were attacked by another squirrel.
Well, you did something and it was beautiful. Good day, everyone! Well, I heard you all. I'm gonna hear the other side now. Good day, everyone!
Good day!
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are the company of comedians. Round of applause. Thank you, you're all too kind.
So, we'll be having a nice English country dance, so you're going to need a partner. Establish who your partner is. Very good. Now we shall have 2 lines. You'll be shoulder to shoulder facing your partner. I'm sure you know how this works. Hands together. You're probably not holding the drum, but you just put your hands together right there in the middle, yes? And you just bend down like this and down. Very good. You pick whichever honor you'd like to give, but you just learned the first and the last thing you're going to be doing in this dance, your courtesy. So say hello to your partner in the 18th century way. Say good day and bow. Beautifully done.
Good day.
Very beautifully done.
Up next will be the Capitol building. Her Majesty Queen Anne, her royal capital. That's where the governor will sit right there. Stepping into the governor's chair right here. Court is in session. Alright, I'll take a picture.
Because when you're talking about people who were enslaved or indigenous individuals, and women, their rights were far less than the freeholders that got to defend themselves, especially women, because if they couldn't even get a defense attorney. It would be up to either their husband or their closest paternal figure.
Worn beautifully in this golden gown, the blue velvet cape. And you can see 3 symbols here. We see what are called the holy jewels, or the crown jewels, right? We see her hand, just put gently on top of the sphere next to the scepter and the crown. The sphere symbolizing the world, the scepter symbolizing power, and the crown symbolizing holy wisdom, as they are bestowed, in this case, by God himself, so that she may rule over this empire. And it was here that she would be able to choose or elect the royal governor. But good question, how you asked that. So very astute observation.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Super happy that we're now able to check out the whole entire Capitol building itself. Ooh, the bells are going off outside. It is 4 o'clock. Yeah, this room right here, it kind of looks like the old State House out in Boston.
You do. This is the Mitchell map over here. It's from about 1755. This room is going to be kind of a joint workspace for the upper house of the legislature, that's the council and the governor, and the lower house, which is the House of Burgesses. If they need to agree on a law, they can bring it up here, talk about it with each other. Probably only a couple members of the House of Burgesses, because there's 160 of them. They're not all going to fit in here. Yeah. So maybe about 20 or so of them, or less, and then all the governor's council, that totals 13.
What was that room next?
That is a council chamber.
Council.
So the governor and his council would have met in there. When they are deliberating as justices down in the court, they could have talked about that. They could have talked about legislation that they're that came from the House of Burgesses that they're reviewing. Or he could have even been serving as the cabinet to the governor, like how we think of a presidential cabinet today. Voting dispute from Westmoreland County, like the election had seemed a little fishy. They could discuss it in this room to talk about it. But yeah. Smaller room, and then when you're ready, the house chamber where the House of Burgesses actually met is down the staircase. Thank you. Of course.
Just right there, a map of the British Empire in America with the French and Spanish settlements. It's called the House of Burgesses. King George. Queen Charlotte. So what was this room?
My apologies. This was the chamber of the House of Burgesses, the elected body of the colony of Virginia, as well as the lower legislative house. These were the men who were actually voted for to represent their local counties, and the ones who actually created legislation to be passed up to the governor and his council to be approved or amended upon. This is where you have names such as Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Patrick Henry, George Mason, James Madison. That's where a lot of those figures got their start in government.
And well, that was it. The Capitol here in Williamsburg. When it was a Capitol here in Williamsburg, which housed both houses of Virginia General Assembly, the Governor's Council, and the House of Burgesses, which was that last room. The gentleman did say that this whole building was set on the original foundation of the first Capitol. He said that the second Capitol, when it was destroyed, when they reconstructed this, they actually went by the first Capitol, not the second one, because they had more information on the first Capitol. So this is like a reconstruction of actual the original building.
Don't really trust anyone. You can't stay in one place for too long. You have to watch everything you say and do. Baby, you remember that girl? She couldn't have been any more than 15.
Back to the courthouse area. We are supposed to be doing some kind of demonstration. We're inside the courthouse.
The courts, the local county court meets once a month. So every county, so there's a bunch of local counties here. They are going to kind of coordinate who meets when. For example, the city of Williamsburg, so James City County meets the first Monday of the month. The city of Williamsburg, which yes, we're in, but it's also the James City County Courthouse, they will meet the third Monday of the month.
Hey, there was no skaters back in the 1700s.
Present, sir. Pena, private soldier. Present, sir. Lewis, private soldier. Present, sir. Everyone is accounted for. So now that the rolls have been made, again, you can see if there was 30 to 40 men, this might take some time, but this is a good way to make sure that everyone in the company is accounted for. Typically, I would have an ensign, so in this case, I'm kind of basically portraying, kind of doing the job of a captain, if you will. They would typically have an ensign who's typically going to have basically a roll of all the men that should be in the company, and basically right now making sure whether they are present, if they're away on some sort of duty, or if they just have failed to actually be here for the ceremony. But now the roll calls are made. At this point, we are now going to perform the actual inspection part of the ceremony, which includes me inspecting that they have their arms, specifically a musket well fitted with a bayonet, which does look like they are going to pass at least that section of the ceremony, of the inspection. But also, I'm checking to make sure that their weapons are clean and functional. Also checking to make sure they have all their equipment, specifically if they have not only a bayonet scabbard, but also a cartridge box, a powder horn, and a canteen filled with water. So those are at least the main things they should have. As well as I'm also really taking a closer eye on them, making sure that they are specifically well. Because really at this point, the biggest killer for armies in the 18th century is not necessarily the musket, the bayonet, or even the cannon. It's actually going to be disease and sickness. And really, especially given that these men are sleeping in such tight quarters, specifically these tents that you see here, each tent is going to be holding 6 man per tent. And these men are typically between the ages of, say, 18 and 30. Hoist your firelocks! Shoulder your arms. With that being said, though, at this point now, the orders for the day are going to be now given at this part of the ceremony. Those orders are going to be essentially letting the soldiers know for the next 24 hours what they should be doing. Specifically in the next morning, once they are actually beginning their workday. And those orders are going to be as follows. Budget company, orders for the day. All tents are to be aired out, releasing any bad humors. Weapons are to be cleaned, polished, and ready for inspection. All ammunition is to be produced in the laboratory in the morning as if required. The heavy 3-pounder is to be cleaned and ready for inspection. And finally, the parole for the day. The parole being translated to the 21st century, what you might recognize as a password, is going to be how we are maintaining security around this magazine, because we are, of course, guarding it. And that means that since you all are technically in the encampment, that means you are technically breaking that line, if you will. So typically you wouldn't be allowed in this area unless you knew that parole or that password. Today the parole is going to change for the next 24 hours. So ideally every day they're going to be changing that parole. And there's a variety of different kind of paroles that they use. Typically it's going to be either names of governors or places they're familiar with. Some of which that were kind of embarrassingly easy. One that they used quite frequently was Williamsburg as a parole, which and they even used that the same day, used that twice in the same month as well. So sometimes these paroles were not necessarily too terribly imaginative, but we're simply going to start with that. The parole for the day shall be Hampton. The parole for the day shall be Hampton. So at this point, that means that if they all know that parole, that means they were at inspection. So that means they are specifically men who are ideally supposed to be here. So that means by tomorrow, if you show up here and you do not know the parole, you might be either arrested and or shot, as or depending on the guard's perception, if you will. But with that being said, now the orders have been relayed, it is now time to end the ceremony. Specifically, this will be done with the tune of Retreat. Unfortunately, though, we just have a drummer, so it's going to be fairly basic. If we had a fifer, then there would be a little bit more kind of flair to it, if you will. But for now, it's just going to be the basic drummer's call for Retreat, if you will. So, here we go. Drummer, sound, Retreat. So with that, the ceremony has been done, though Corporal Beckman here is going to be posted on guard, so unfortunately he is going to be guarding the magazine for the evening. The rest of us, though, we are going to march down towards the direction of a number of taverns down Gloucester Street there. Maybe get ourselves a drink for the end of the day, and of course, if you all are willing to do so, I'm pretty sure you all would probably do the same as well. In fact, I highly recommend it. But with that being said, we're going to march out to end the ceremony. So with that, I want to say thank you all so much for attending our demonstration, and I hope you'll enjoy the rest of your evening at Colonial Williamsburg. Musician, host. Take care, to the front, march!
We do have about 15 more minutes. Not sure if they'll let us in the house. But also, we do have to be at Busch Gardens. Starts at 6 out there. Flag is still out, so we're gonna go check it out. Stepping into the Randolph house now. Sleeping quarters. Super small bed. They have a mirror. Where is that? Stairs? To the upper room. The nice lady said that this was the laundry room. Got the hangers.
You would boil the water and wash.
Got the Sleeping Beauty spindle. Kitchen. Don't touch the needle or you go to sleep. It's called a spinner.
It wasn't very tall, was it? Maybe an inch of the original Courthouse. Enjoy yourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoying your visit here.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, I like that chair.
This will explain it a little more. They're all about order and symmetry, right? So we have beautiful crown molding window. Beautiful crown molding.
We are the first room.
So they think this was the back of the house. There was no door here, of course. There was a window here. The house was oriented to face west. That was the front door. And then this would be like, that would be, and right in the space, it all kind of makes sense. We're pretty confident about that. The Randolphs did not build this house. Sir John Randolph, Peyton Randolph's father, purchased it in 1724. They changed the orientation when they added that addition. Of course, by doing a north-south, like cardinal direction, right, they're going to have much better sunlight, right? They're going to, it's just a better, and, as the city's growing up here and this becomes much more prominent, right? Really, in 1717, right, the college and the church are there, right? By 1755, the town is starting to take form, and then this, it orients not only the sun, but the importance of the Gloucester School. This is the parlor. Let me know if you have any questions about any of this. This is Peyton and his wife. Between the two of them, they're related to 6 of the 7 Virginians that signed the Declaration of Independence. Peyton is Speaker of the House of Burgesses, just as his father had been Speaker of the House, just as his grandfather had been Speaker of the House. I often wonder what that journey looked like from loyal servant of the British Crown to founding First Father. Of course, we don't know. We didn't write any of that down, so we can only speculate. This is the parlor. It was both entertaining space, but it was also a private family space, right? This sort of family private life is represented by the embroidery here that Mrs. Randolph would have worked on with her enslaved personal assistant, a lady named Eve. I will point out one thing. I haven't spoken about this all day. Oftentimes I will be asked about the paneling in here, and this was highfalutin stuff. Up from the beginning of the 1700s to the middle of the 1700s. This interior design is called wainscoting, right? And this was at the absolute tippy top of interior design. A panel leading up to the chair rail, and then a larger panel leading from the chair rail all the way up to the ceiling. This was replaced in the second half of the 18th. I'm just going to open this. The tour will take you upstairs, but just to show you this. See how the paneling goes up to the chair rail and then it's wallpaper all the way up. That was the style that took the place of this wainscoting, right? So, and again, both of the wallpaper was super expensive, right? That's why you don't see it around town here.
The lady outside was saying that this part is original?
So, from this part over was constructed around 1717. And then from the other side of this door and you'll see how the rest of the house was built, was added in 1755. This is, so both of these parts of the building are original, again, to 1717, roughly, give or take a year or two, and then 1755 over there. Of course, when they added that addition, it totally changed the dynamics of the house here. The kitchen, of course, you saw where the kitchen was, right? One of these rooms closest to the kitchen would have been the dining room, right? That's sort of a no-brainer. I was reading an architectural report, and one of the scholars thinks that the walkway would have led all the way over here to this corner, and indeed this was the dining room, but we do not know for certain. We do not know for certain. He made a really good argument, but again, it was just speculation. But certainly these rooms would have changed, right? I mean, when they added the rest of that house, they more than doubled the size of the house.
Yeah.
Over here we call Peyton's library or Peyton's office. Of course, with him, he would have had an enslaved personal assistant that would have been with him 24 hours a day. His name was Johnny. Of course, Peyton had a very famous collection of books, right? He was quite a scholar. Everybody knew about it. One individual who knew about this library was Thomas Jefferson, not only a relative to the Randolphs, but a regular guest over here. So when Peyton Randolph dies, Thomas Jefferson swoops in and he buys the books out of this library. In 1814, when he gets in a little bit of a cash pinch, he sells that collection of books to the government, and they become part of the ground floor of the Library of Congress.
Congress. I will also add that Thomas Jefferson also purchased books from St. George Tucker, which is 2 houses down here to the west. He also purchased books from George Wythe's library, which is just on the other side of the Palace Green. And so there's actually books for these couple hundred yards here. There's a slew of books that became that ground floor of the Library of Congress. I want to say it's just on this side or that side of 1,000 books.
What are we reading here? The proclamation. God save the king. Got a foldable bed right here. Wow.
This is the dining room, and this was added on 1750 by Peyton Randolph. The indications of money is on display. How do we know what was here? There was an inventory. They told us they ate from porcelain and china, fine silver, but they also had marbles.
Well, I think this is it for Colonial Williamsburg. Pretty fun early day, learning a little bit about the history over here. The colonial time era. They've closed us out. It's already 5:03. Sister, had a good time here?
Yes, I did. It was fun.
So, where's the exit? I don't even know where. We're just walking. You know what? I forgot to pay the parking. I was just thinking about it. Hopefully, I don't have a ticket in the car. I was like, I'll just pay it on the app, but then I totally forgot. Anyways, we're back on our way to the car, which is quite a walk. And so we'll see you at Busch Gardens. It does start at 6 to 10, only 4 hours. And yeah, well, thank you for watching. We'll see you in a bit. This was a Zoo's Adventure.